Hi, and welcome to this next tip. Now, this one is on the changes that with sleep physiology, and this will explain why some people do or don't feel benefits on the treatment. So, before you started CPAP therapy, your body was conditioned to sleeping with apnea, which resulted in a change with your sleep physiology and your circadian systems. Now, once you start treating the sleep apnea, your sleep physiology is going to change. Now, the time frame for this is reliant on many factors and can be the reason why some people feel benefits and others don't. So I thought this was worth actually doing a quick little video on for you to explain it. So if you're one of those that are using your CPAP all night, every night, and not feeling any benefits, then this may be for you. So there's a couple of scenarios to consider first before we go on. So when you first start using CPAP, you can be somewhat semi-aware of it. So the depth of sleep can sometimes be compromised. Now, just as apnea can keep you in longer periods of lighter sleep, so can the initial use of CPAP. If you are accepting of the CPAP therapy and relaxed going to sleep, then you may experience deeper sleep faster than someone who's not keen or is a bit anxious and struggles with coming to terms with it. So this tends to settle down the more you acclimatise to the machine. Now, secondly, it's also worthwhile being aware that sometimes you may even feel worse in the initial days or week, either due to what I just said then, or now that you're using CPAP, your sleep patterns try to make up for lost REM sleep and they go into overdrive. And this is actually a syndrome called REM rebound, and I'm going to go in deeper in the next tip with this one. So it's actually a positive indicator that your body is conditioning to this new normal. So it's actually a good thing. And thirdly, take a look at what else is happening in your life. So if you've got a lot going on and you're experiencing stress or just a hectic life, this can actually impact your sleep regardless of sleep apnea. So if you're struggling to feel the benefits, then just take a look at what's happening in your day-to-day and see if you can correlate that with just being stressed or that. Now, regardless of how you adapt to therapy, it is important to know that at some stage you will experience a change in your sleep physiology, so the sleep patterns. And as I said earlier, your body is conditioned to sleeping with apnea, and now using CPAP, it will be adjusting to a new normal. So when you have significant sleep apnea, you have reduced or missed out on vital stages of sleep. So over time and with regular use of the CPAP, your body then learns that it is now safe to actually go into those deeper levels of sleep, which is where sleep apnea really happens the most, and resulting in an improved quality of sleep. And with better sleep comes the benefits. Now, so just know that there is no normal. So just be kind to yourself and let your body work it out. So some experience it within the first couple of weeks, first month, but for the majority it can take up to 6 months for these changes to happen. And I found probably consistently it was more around the 3-month mark that we started to see these subtle changes. And sometimes the benefits are there, but because they're more subtle, people don't actually pay attention to them. So the 3 most consistent ones reported by my patients were just improved daytime cognitive processing. In a nutshell, their conversations got better. They were far more articulate. They weren't losing their train of thought halfway through a conversation. Their short-term memory was significantly improved, and just their thought processing, just their cognitive processing was improved. Just a feeling of wellness. So they still may not have jumped out of bed. They still may have had those lulls during the day and in the afternoon. And I actually in my sleep course, I go into that a lot more about what our normal ways about how we sleep. And so just they had that general feeling of wellness. They just felt better within themselves and generally coping better. So little stresses weren't stressing you out as much, and their tolerance level improved. So it wasn't blatantly obvious, I'm going to go and do a 5K run. Sometimes they were more subtle. So just keep an eye on those little things as well. Now, a funny story that I had was I had this gorgeous lady that used to come in and see me, and she was quite elderly, and she only had mild sleep apnea, but she was actually on it CPAP because she had had a heart attack or had a couple of heart attacks. So, and her oxygen and pulse rates were actually impacted. So she was on it, and she was beautifully compliant. She used it every night, but every time she came in and saw me, she would just say, "I really hate it," and she just didn't like it. But to her credit, she put it on every night and used it. And then one time she came back to see me, and we'd always have a little chat. And she said to me, "Okay, I get it now. I'll play your ACE card, and here, it is working for me." And I said, "What changed?" And she said, "I was washing up. It was a couple of weeks before, and she was washing up at the sink, and the window in front of her was dirty. So she actually cleaned that window, and then because that was clean, she actually had to clean the next one. And she ended up cleaning all the windows in that living area. And then she didn't think much of it. She was tired that night, and then she went to bed, and then she went shopping the next day. And she said to me, that's when I had my aha moment. She said, because there is no way that I could have done those windows before CPAP. She said, I just wouldn't have been physically possible to do it. She said, and then she said, but it wasn't until I was shopping that I realised that I was actually out and about. She said, if I had attempted that before, I would have actually been in bed for 3 days. That would have knocked me around so much, I would have actually gone to bed for 3 days. And she said, and here I was shopping the next day. Yes, she was tired. Yes, she was a bit sore and all that sort of thing. But that was her light bulb moment, that it was actually making a difference. As much as she hated it and she didn't feel that difference every day, she could see now that there was actually a reason why she was on it. The same with the fellow, he was ready to chuck it in, and he was so compliant on treatment, and I managed to convince him to keep going with it. And then the same thing, he came into me and he, slapped me on the back and had a great relationship with them all. And he said that his aha moment was he was washing the car, and then he ended up hosing down the pathway, and then he ended up mowing the lawn. And he said, I would never have done that before CPAP. He said, I would never have been motivated to wash the car, first thing. He said, but then to actually turn around and do the lawns and everything beforehand. So even though he was saying it wasn't having a benefit, it's these subtle little things that happen every day that we don't pay attention. So just step back a little bit and have a look at those and see if you can see if there is improved cognitive processing or your conversations improve. A lot of times partners actually make the comment. So even though I've got them sitting in front of me saying, I'm not feeling any benefits, the partner will chip in and say, but Dale, remember you did this, or remember you did that. So there are subtle ones. I think it's just more difficult to come to terms with it. So getting back to it, just know that your sleep patterns and circadian processes will change over time, and there's no set time frame for this. So just keep going and it will happen. So with improved sleep comes improved health. True story. So I hope that's made sense. I hope that it makes a difference and gets you little ticking away about the little things that you might already be experiencing and just not putting two and two together. So thank you for listening, and see you in the next tip. Thank you.